one of my biggest failures in this business was listening to other people tell me what to do. I've made more bad decisions based on what other people have told me to do versus listening to my instincts. Always listen to your instincts.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Girl X, a weekly conversation with an inspiring woman. I'm Cooper Gillespie, and this week has been weird. I'll be honest. The apple fire in Cherry Valley is raging nearby, and so not only does the world feel apocalyptic, but now my corner of the world really looks apocalyptic. The sky is full of dark smoke clouds and ash, and the sun glows red during the day, and it's just been a really strange week. But I've been trying to maintain some normalcy by sticking to a consistent work schedule, and I'm working on something really cool with this week's guests. At the top of the episode, you heard Jaime Parker Stickle talking about how important it is to always trust your instincts and not listen to what other people think you should do. She is an author, writer, and actor with an MFA from the University of California, Riverside. In fact, that's where we met, getting our MFAs together. We were MFA besties. And she is the creator and co-host of the Make That Paper podcast, which looks at all the strange side hustles we artists do to support our art. And there are some really strange ones. In fact, she shares a super weird one at the end of this episode. So stick around for that. And she's also the creator of the new storytelling series, Okay, You Guys, in Los Angeles. Her work has been published in both the 2018 and 19 Adelaide Literary Anthologies. She is currently in revisions on her novel, and she is the co-editor of the Girl X blog. So if you haven't checked it out yet, head to GXRLPOD.com. We have some really cool features there, and we're going to be leading an online writing workshop soon. But you'll also be able to find more details on the Girl X blog. We're so excited about this. We can't wait. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for that over the next couple of weeks. All right. Here she is, everyone. Jaime Parker Stickle. How you doing today?
I'm nervous. I'm listening to your podcast and I'm like, oh, I am not worthy of these women who are on her podcast.
Oh, stop. Yes, you are.
It's so good. They inspire me. It's so good.
Yay. That's what I was hoping. I feel inspired by all the women I know. So I'm glad to know that you're feeling inspired too.
Feeling inspired, man. Yeah.
So let's hear a little bit about your journey. Did you always know you wanted to be a performer and a writer?
So I always did know from a young age that I wanted to be a performer. It's interesting. My mom and dad used the church as a babysitter, as free daycare. We would go to Bible study and choir practice since we were 4 years old.
Were they religious or no? They were just I need a place to drop my kids.
Nope, they were not religious. Yes, they needed a place to drop their kids. So they would take us over to the Methodist church and drop our butts off. And so I started performing there when I was 4. And, at 4, you don't perform every Sunday. That comes later on. But there would be big performances and there would still be solos and they'd do little, like Daniel and the Lion's Den, little musicals and stuff. And I would always want to be the lead, even if I wasn't the best singer. I was like, I'll be Daniel, because none of the other kids wanted to be anyway. So I was like, I'll be him. I'll do it. Part of me thinks, I was the middle child, 3 girls, 1 boy. So I was the middle child and I got no attention whatsoever. I swear to God, I could be missing for 4 days and nobody would have noticed. But I was also the loudest. So they were probably just living in peace and harmony for those 4 days. But I worked my butt off to make all my siblings like me. And I would put on shows in the backyard. Anything Madonna or Cyndi Lauper, I'd be in the backyard look, watch this and I'll teach you guys how to do it with me. And then we can get the big camcorder out and we can tape ourselves and watch it back. And then I direct them. So yeah. And then when I was in elementary school, I had a teacher that fostered that love of performance in me. And she just said, you need to write. So I wrote a piece. And actually, I started in this one woman's class and she fostered it and she gave me this play to do. Honestly, swear to God, no joke. I was thinking about the other day. It was a witch's thing. It was a little fairy tale thing. that she had given to me. I didn't write this one. And then I skipped a grade, and in that other class was like my first guy teacher. And I was very timid because it was a male teacher. I was younger than everybody in the class. These weren't my friends. I didn't know what to do with myself. And so he was like, well, let's write. I heard you're a good writer. So he encouraged me to write a play. I was 8 or 9, and I wrote it, and he submitted it to a contest. I don't even understand. And it won. And these actors that tour the country came and performed it at my school for all the parents and students. And I got this big certificate, and I was like written up in the paper.
That must have felt good.
I guess it's weird. It should feel like it should be a bigger deal, but my parents really discouraged it because they wanted me to be a lawyer or a doctor or something with a tangible through line. So they didn't make a huge deal out of it. And so it just wasn't a huge deal, if that makes any sense whatsoever. But for me, that's all I ever wanted to do. I get it now that I have a kid of my own. Like I sort of understand, but I would never squelch his talent or things that he wanted to do. I will encourage it. If he says he wants to do it, then I encourage it. It's like, and if he wants to quit it, I probably, after spending time investing in it, won't even let him quit it until he's really proven to me that he wants to quit it. Because I never want him to say, you let me quit something just because I wasn't ready for it, or,
Right. Well, that also teaches follow through. Sometimes in life you got to do stuff you don't like because you committed to do it, so that's
true.
I think that's a good lesson. So where were you growing up? Where were you?
I was in Michigan. I was in a small suburb about 6 miles outside of Detroit called Berkeley.
And did you like it there? Or were you like, I just want to get out of this one light town?
Yeah, I wanted out really, really, really bad. I used to beg my parents to send me to live with my grandparents in Arizona. I asked them, is there any way you can send me to a school in a different district? I was like, I need change. I need to go. And they were like, that's just not how the world works.
You can't just leave home at 9.
So I ended up, long story that I won't get into here, but ended up having to stay in state for college. And then after college, I was working in the news. I was working for NBC News Detroit. And I decided,
I feel like you skipped a lot there. So you wanted to go to college somewhere else, but for some circumstance, you had to stay in state. So you had dreams of leaving, but Michigan kept you, right? And so did you study journalism in college?
I did. I was supposed to go to NYU. It didn't work out because of family problems. So I stayed in state and went to Michigan State University, and I studied theater and journalism. And it was great. I ended up interning for a lot of small film production companies in Michigan, which were all male-ran, sleazy little production houses that, I interned for free. Plus I had a job. Plus I had, anywhere from 12 to 16 credits a semester or quarter, or however it was divided up. So I never slept. I got mono twice. I was like, this is the worst life ever. But I had ambitions to get out and have a full, robust resume when I came out so that somebody would pay me so that I could stay out, so I didn't have to, stay close to home and live with my family or something. Yeah. So I worked really hard. I worked on a college television show called Sideshow, which was a sketch show. And I was a producer and a writer, and we wrote and produced and filmed all our own shorts. And it was on the campus television programming. It was really funny.
Cool.
Yeah. And I wrote some plays in college that were produced at a small theater on campus, which was fun, with really weird undertones of suicide.
Well, it's like your child self is dying and your adult self is coming.
My pieces had to do with food escaping, cereal escaping the box and doom of drowning in milk or someone's internal digestion system. And I was like, I write weird shit. What's that
about? Very
about?
avant-garde. Very avant-garde.
I'll take it.
But you sound like you had it way more together than I did in college. Wow, you're writing plays and working a million jobs. And
yeah, I didn't have a choice. I had to pay for college, and I had to build a resume. And, I had a grandmother, all the women in my family dating back to my great grandmother, and I don't know past that, all went to college, which is very obviously rare. So I came from a long line of women with college degrees. And, I thought very highly upon that. And they were all in sororities. That's what helped get them through, university life. Because at the time when they went, it was a very small population of women. So being in a sorority meant that you had support and you were protected, and, you lived in the house because there was nowhere else to live if your parents weren't local. So I I ended up knowing that I had to join a sorority and I had to find a way to pay for those dues and the clothes that they required for certain events, which are basically uniforms. So I borrowed a lot of clothes from people and I joined a sorority. And in my second quarter of school, I became vice president or something of like alumni relations. I don't know. I was on a fast track to like networking. I didn't even know it was called networking at the time, but I was like, who are the people I need to know? Who are the rich people who can open doors? That's who I want to know. Let's get there.
And even today, your ability to network, it actually exhausts me. I mean, you're so good at it, but I don't even know how you keep up all those connections. It's crazy. You're really good at it.
I have a genuine love of people. I think my calling in life was advocacy, to be honest, bringing people together. And advocacy can be, within any medium. And for me, it's just in the realm of people themselves. Like, so whatever it is you want to do, I want to help make that happen for you. So I've often found that my networking I use it as a resource for other people, not myself. And I should find a way to like bring that back centered a little bit. But yeah, I've never asked for help because I've always had to do it on my own. And so asking for help was never something that I understood. But when I see other people struggle, all I want to do is help. And it's probably because I know what it feels like to struggle. Yeah. So advocacy and I think networking for me goes hand in hand with advocacy, where I'm bringing people together to help follow through on their goals, I think. Yeah. Sounds right to me.
Yeah, that sounds good. So then do you make your way to California right away, or how does that happen?
Yeah. So my last year at university, I was interning for ABC News Detroit, and I was promised a job when I graduated at the news station. And that happened. My producer ended up going to NBC Detroit. So I went with her to NBC Detroit when I graduated, and I was PAing. Whereas when I was an intern and they weren't paying me, and I was also, working another hustle, a job. But when I was an intern, they would send me to do all the cool stuff. So I got to do man on the street interviews. I was the one that was interviewing people for the anchors. So you never see me on camera. You always see like it would cut back to the anchor and then to the person I would be interviewing. So you're always cut out, like that's a producer's position, which is really fun actually. And I loved it. I loved it. But then I went to NBC and I was a PA and I was doing just like lots of grunt work starting at 5 a.m. in the mornings. And it was grunt work. And I was like, I can't do this. This isn't what I want to do. And telling stories that I didn't want to tell. I worked on special investigations at ABC. So it was an advocacy position. People would call with issues that they were facing in Detroit with, big companies, small companies. It was just like a lot of fun investigating. We had this one story where this woman kept hounding us that Hollywood stole her script for Michael Jackson's story and she wrote it. And it was so awesome. And I got to talk to her like every day for a month. And like, we didn't have the internet the way the internet is now. So I had to like get on the phone because this was like 1999, 2000. I mean, internet was there, but it wasn't like Facebook. It
was like chat rooms.
Right. Like it was like, I was on my feet doing lots of work and it was so great. And the day would fly by and I felt like we were telling important stories and I thought that could go somewhere. And then I went to NBC and it was just like a bunch of.
So for you, interning was a good thing.
Yeah. If only they had paid me and then given me that job when I graduated, it would have been.
Yeah.
I probably would have stalled my move to California. Maybe.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe it'd still be in Berkeley, Michigan right now.
Oh God. The prices of homes are just now. They're little teeny tiny starter homes and they cost as much as a California home. And I'm like, what's happening? Why is everything that's like starter and cute or was like sort of the wrong side of town when I was growing up now super cool? What's going on?
Yeah. Nico Case has a song called Thrice All American about my hometown because she's from Tacoma too. And one of the lyrics is, make way for the Walmart. I hope they don't find you Tacoma. And people did find Tacoma. And now all these beautiful Victorian homes that were super cheap, that were right on the water are now like $1 million houses. Whereas before my dad bought our first house for like 40 grand, It was a 3-bedroom house.
Yeah. My parents bought, it's also a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house that 6 of us grew up in. And they bought it for like, somebody bought it for them. I think their parents bought it for them for like $47,000. And now it's like $417,000. And I'm like, there's 1 bathroom, 1 in that house.
That should at least take 100 grand off right there.
You guys sleeping in a little teeny room with 2 sisters, 3 of you. It was not like the Brady Bunch house. I'm telling you, I don't know how we fit 3 of us in there.
Are you still close with your siblings, or was that like, whoa, that was an intense childhood? I'll see you at Christmas or whatever.
Yeah, it's a good question. My older sister and I are very different. We're very, very, very different. We've always been very different. It's weird because when you are that intimate with somebody, you have that intimate relationship where, you are in the same bed growing up until they leave. There's a closeness that won't ever leave you, I think. And my little sister is like, yeah, I mean, she's my best